Well, a very good morning, everybody, for Monday, the 1st of August. So we've got a weak cold front just pushing over us at the moment, maybe a little bit stronger than we'd anticipated, with that bringing some low cloud and some drizzle at times. We've actually had a little bit of rain over at Lasham overnight, which is good. Might make the grass actually start to turn the colour it should be. For the next couple of days, it is going to remain a little bit unsettled, but as you can see today, it's clearing up in the middle of the day to leave a reasonable air mass with pressure increasing as we go on. Looking at the winds today, well, the winds are looking generally from the west at around sort of 10 to 15 knots at flying heights. And the satellite picture over the UK currently showing a fair amount of cloud, but starting to break up as the morning goes on to leave a fairly nice morning. That might take some time though, with it suggesting that it might be around 11 or 12 o'clock before we see any reasonable amount of sunshine, and there being the chance of some low cloud this morning. Top temperature today of around 28 degrees, and the public forecast is sort of showing that we should get to at least 26 at Lasham. Reasonable visibility and variable winds at times, with a slight sort of northerly trend for most of the day. Looking at the dew points, those should drop to about 8 or 7 later in the afternoon, giving us a good temperature dew point split and some nice higher cloud bases to go across country in the afternoon. Currently at Lasham with a temperature of 17 and a dew point of 12, and the picture outside is looking like that. Farnborough currently reporting 1,400 feet cloud base. It's probably only about 11 or 1,200 feet at Lasham, and their TAF showing it could be broken at 1,400 feet for most of the morning. Clearing up later to scattered at 3,000, and as you can see, just a chance, outside chance of some rain showers. I think that's going to be hopefully fairly low. Looking at top meteo, it's the only one I can provide you this morning, but the potential flight distance is looking like that. So good to our northwest and west. You'll see though it's not a particularly early start. In our area, a fair amount of chance of rain and drizzle this morning, but this is sort of 11 o'clock or so, and in our area we're starting to see cloud bases around 2,000 feet. That's around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock. By 1, 2 o'clock, that's when it really does start to get going, and once that muck has cleared out to the east, we should start to see reasonable bases, a blue shallow Q at around sort of 4,500 feet. In the afternoon, continuing to increase. Chance more of haze caps in the afternoon, looking here at around 5,500, so maybe even 6,000 feet, maybe even 6,500 later in the afternoon. Those light winds mean that windward coasts might start to pick up a sea breeze. Looking up into Oxfordshire, again 1,800 meters or so, maybe even 2,000 meters later in the day. The chance more cumulus sort of to the east of the Booker, Husbos region, but where you get into that region, you'll notice that it quickly does deteriorate. So maybe better to fly in the wispies on a day like today. Into Wales, a bit more chance of cumulus there. Your best area really down towards Yeovil and up towards sort of Oxfordshire for today. Sort of 7 o'clock in the evening, it could still well be working at Lasham. There will be a sea breeze coming in from the south, so some chance of convergence in that area. But yeah, still reasonable at that time of the day. The Somerset level is starting to produce some sea air as well. So the best place to be later in the day, looking like in that band between Oxford and Lasham. Cloud amounts. Well, I said low to start with, but as we go through the morning and into the afternoon, cumulus, it's maybe the chances in top cover, but mostly haze caps. Let's look at location forecast. You can see that sort of later start today. Reasonable climbs this afternoon, and that mostly sort of west northwesterly wind prevailing. with a top temperature of 27 degrees potentially this afternoon. So time to get your shorts back out. Though it's not 40 degrees, so at least we've been saved from that. Okay, on to the airspace. Now there is quite a bit of airspace today to take into account. So let's just take what we've got here first. So there's a number of raw flights going in and out of Kemble. I think most of them should be out of your way. But the first one is between about 10:20 and 11:15. Yeah, I don't think that's going to be too much of a factor, but if you are going off on a motor glider or doing something else, then be aware that you'll need to check on that. This afternoon, however, between about 17:10 and 18:25, you can see the area this covers really quite large, actually. Most of the area between sort of Swindon and Aston Down is completely cut off at low level. This smaller box that you see down to the southwest is down to the surface. That's protecting Kemble with a raw flight arrival later this afternoon. You've also got an airway which is at 17:40 and 18:25. That's covering most of the Bryce zone, but also just slightly outside of that as well. So yeah, my best advice would be to stay well away from the area and come down, sort of plan your tasks to come down just to the east of Oxford or over the top of Oxford on your way back, as this area is going to be quite tricky later on in the day. Little Rislington is active all week, and that's active today between 9 and 5. You can just give them a call on the radio and they should let you come through. Other NOTAMs to be aware of, lots of paragliding NOTAMs. There's also parachute display this evening at Tidworth in Wiltshire. And looking elsewhere on the charts, there's lots of airways going up towards sort of the Mind, but if I'm honest, they're at like 10 to 15,000 feet. It's just that this briefing shows them. Expect danger area activity to be present over some parts of the Salisbury Plain, though you might not get a response on Boscombe, as they, I think, are on their holidays, which is useful. 13 and 14, just sort of the parachuting end, which is this evening, and the high intensity radio activity. Elsewhere, gliding competition at Dunstable. And I think there might also be some flare firing going on at some place in Northamptonshire, not to 1900 feet. I suggest that probably won't be too much of a problem. So yes, just bear in mind those Kemble restrictions, and I think it'll be absolutely fine. Okay, operationally today, we're going to be runway 27. We've got quite a lot of variable wind, but it does seem to be favouring that direction. We do have a number of jet movements as well. We have a Navajo due in about an hour. We then have a 727 departing at about 11 o'clock this morning. And then there is a Boeing 737, it's a Ukrainian one actually, which is due into Lasham at, I'll just check the latest time, it's due into Lasham at around 20 to 1 this afternoon. So probably best thing to do if you are looking to fly is to grid on 27 on the north side grass, and we'll get you away from there. Okay, we'll see you on the airfield when it clears up. Bye for now.